I have spoken with many pastors and said, speak into this if you are not in favor of it. And several of them said, well, we're not.
Greetings, y'all, and welcome to See Things Above TV. I'm your host, Lou Ciccone. So today we're taking a look at this key piece of information, which is one of the points that Jonathan and Suzy Lamb have been adamant about from the beginning, but yet we have seen some resistance and a response from Joni Lamb on this issue. This could be the first piece of information that has been corroborated by a third party, and they've done so in an official sense where they've actually gone on a podcast and made this clear. What we'll be discussing is this idea that there was opposition to Doug Weiss and Joni getting married from the beginning. Before we get into it, if y'all like content like this, y'all know what to do. Like, share, and subscribe. Ring the bell for notifications. Do all the stuff that lets YouTube know that you like content like this, all right? Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So Denise Boggs, who is viewed as a mediator and a close friend of the family, she was also mentioned in some of the correspondence that we saw as this whole story was unfolding. She went on the Laura Lynn Tyler Thompson show and made it clear that there was opposition to Doug and Joni getting married, and that opposition was not just the family, but there were other people voicing their concerns as well.
I have spoken with many pastors and said, it's our responsibility. It's our responsibility as pastors. It's your responsibility. If you love Joni, to speak into this if you are not in favor of it. And several of them said, well, we're not. At one time, I was even given a whole list by someone in the family of all the ones that were not in favor of the wedding and the marriage. And I talked to a couple of them and I said, well, you know, because we're to care for the widows, care for them. That's a vulnerable time for them. And if you care for them and you don't feel like this is of the Lord, that this is being jumped into too prematurely, then speak straight to her. Speak the truth to her in love. Let her know that. And so I do know of one that spoke the truth. I do know of one leader that was willing to speak the truth of how he felt about it. And he spoke directly to Joni.
So that was Denise Boggs explaining that there was indeed opposition, that was not just the family opposing this union of Joni Lamb and Doug Weiss at the time. So far, what we've heard from Joni would suggest that there was more of a warm reception to Doug and that changed over time and actually only really changed once he was brought onto the program.
Jonathan and Suzy said they struggled with that. But I remember when initially the dating and the engagement, they were especially Suzy was very excited.
Oh, very excited. From the very beginning.
And wanted pictures. Yeah. Was it so excited?
I mean, I have so many texts of her being excited. And early on, when I found out Doug had gone through a divorce, after that, I need to make that clear.
Yeah.
After.
Right.
I did not start talking to Doug Weiss until he was divorced. We started talking and more like friends, and then later it began to develop into something.
Yeah.
And we talked for hours, and you know I asked a million questions.
So did we.
But, yes, you did. Yes, you did. And you know what people don't know is that I actually brought people that I trust, that I said, hey, I want you to walk with me through this. And if you see anything, I told you, Cindy, you and Darius, I said, if you see anything, it's a red flag, I want you to tell me. Same thing with you. And several other ministers, and of course my minister friend there in Tennessee. Also my dear friend, I'm just not going to say everybody's name, but who again has been in ministry for 40 years. And we just began to walk through that process. One of the things that all of y'all said to me, you said to me, is just slow down.
Yes.
And because you need to take time and And that's what I did.
Joni starts dating this man. Okay, I'll throw this in there. With all my heart, I wanted her more than anybody else to find love. I wanted her so badly to not be alone. I loved her. I wanted her to be happy. And then she starts talking to him. She says, trust me. We always trusted her. So we started to trust her until it was more October of 2022 when things started to change. We found out more details about divorce. We have Matthew 19. I start talking to pastors to get actual biblical counsel. So that's October 22 is when it started to get really, the tensions arose, panic attacks began, all sorts of things. And then from October, it's building until July of 2023 when I was fired because I stood on my convictions. Won't get into that at this point, but that's what happened.
Now we're hearing a third party describe those events, and that doesn't fit the narrative that we're being told necessarily from Joni at this time. So this to me was very interesting because so far a lot of what we've heard is he said, she said, it's this side, it's that side. Very little of it is information that we can look at and verify because it exists somewhere. It's data or something like that. But this is something that we have a third party coming here and reinforcing something that Jonathan and Suzy have actually said this whole time. And so that's going to be interesting as we move forward and continue to follow this story as it unfolds. But with all that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I would love to hear from you. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And if then you have been raised with Christ, seek the things that are above, where Christ is, seated at the right hand of God. Set your minds on things that are above, not on things that are on earth. All right? God bless y'all, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.